Fresh searches for Madeleine McCann have begun on a stretch of Portuguese countryside a few miles from where she was last seen. Madeleine vanished in 2007 whilst on holiday in Praia Da Luz. The latest search has been conducted at the request of German authorities who are looking for evidence that could implicate the prime suspect in the case, Richard Brückner. He denies any involvement in Madeleine's disappearance and is due to be released from prison, where he's serving time for rape, in September.
I think that this is one of the final really comprehensive look at all the potential spots in and around Praia Da Luz where Mr. Brückner might have taken Madeleine. And I think we have to keep our fingers crossed that the tip-off that came to the German police, not the Portuguese police, was a good one, came from someone who Brückner knew, and let's hope that they find something.
Good morning. Britain's Richard Gaisford joined us from Lagos, where he's been following authorities conducting the search for Madeleine. Tell us, Richard, if you will, about the area that's being searched.
Well, it's very rural, it's a lot of scrubland, and it's a lot of hard work from what we've been witnessing today. It's probably better to take a look at some of the drone photographs that we took earlier, John, and you can see from the air a deserted farmhouse, dilapidated, overgrown, in ruins in many parts. That was the initial focus of this morning's search. That's where the German police headed first, and they've been working their way out around it. They've set up a small base with tents and a van, and they have quite large numbers of people here. And when you walk through the area, as we have done this afternoon, you're hearing a lot of heavy machinery, chainsaws being used to get into the brush. You're getting the sound of generators, and we understand that they're pumping a lot of water out of wells. We've been watching them digging through the ruins of various buildings using pickaxes and getting into what is very hard soil. It's very targeted work. It seems that they have very specific information. This is not a wide-scale search through this quite large area that stretches from some kilometres between the town of Lagos, where we're standing now, which is effectively the eastern edge of this search zone, through to Praia Da Luz, further to the west. They're not walking in large numbers, fanning out as you might think for a search party. This is very targeted, digging, looking, probing, and in many cases looking into the ground where these wells are.
Does this suggest that it's based on new information?
Yeah, that is the point, that the Germans are not telling us whether they have new information. We know that, in effect, they made an application for these searches some months ago. We know that they've been talking to their prime suspect, Richard Brückner, but as far as we're aware, he hasn't told them anything. But they have had this cell phone data that puts him in Praia Da Luz at the time that Madeleine McCann disappeared. And the assumption would be that that same cell phone data is giving them these trig points, these triangulation points, where they're able then to look and see where it had been pinging in the days and weeks afterwards. And then where they're looking is these abandoned buildings that many people have been using, effectively as shelters, hikers, the homeless, people perhaps living what might be described as an alternative lifestyle over the years have used these buildings as places to shelter and to live. That appears to be the focus, and we know that at the time that Madeleine McCann disappeared, Richard Brückner was in effect homeless, was living in his car, and that gives further credence to that possibility. And
it's a German-led investigation.
It is, because this prime suspect, Richard Brückner, is currently in a German jail. He had been found guilty in a German court of raping an elderly woman in Praia Da Luz some years before Madeleine McCann disappeared. Was brought to justice for that, serving a sentence that runs out potentially in September. There is a suggestion that German police, whilst they have him in custody, want to do as much with this case as they possibly could. There's a feeling that they have perhaps more information than they have been letting out into the public. Certainly they're here in large numbers. 30 or so German police officers have made the journey down. We watched them go up the track behind us this morning in a number of vehicles with German license plates on them. It is a big investment for them. It must be that they have information that they're working on that they feel would give some sort of solid result. We're just not sure how that is going to look at this point.
And Richard, you have been following the Madeleine McCann case. You were there literally the day after she went missing. What's your sense of where we are now and what progress has been made?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the first time I've done a last-minute dash to the Algarve for a major development that has then turned out, sadly, to not bring anything. Over the years, we've been back and forth here to Praia Da Luz and to Lagos a number of times as the British police have searched, the Portuguese police have searched, various people have come forward with new theories that have led the police into more action. All of it has come to absolutely nothing. You have to feel for Kate and Jerry McCann as they are watching on at all of this. They want answers. They've said they want answers. They spoke about that in a statement in what would have been Madeleine's recent birthday. But they are really keeping quiet at the moment, have heard nothing from them as this develops. And it does feel that it's significant just because of the numbers of German police and the fact that they're taking it so seriously. But I've been here too many times to say that we're definitely going to get some sort of positive result in taking us towards the end of this most awful of stories.
Richard, thanks for joining us in Scotland Tonight.